My name is Emily Carter and I'm 34 years old. There I was, right in the middle of that family dinner in Seattle, the air thick with tension, as my mom slammed her hand on the table. "Give me your credit card, Emily. Your sister needs $200,000 for the wedding deposits. Now." Her eyes locked on mine, unblinking like it was the most normal ask in the world. My older sister sat across from me, her fork paused mid-air waiting for my move. I stared back, heart pounding. "Mom, no. That's my money from EduLink. You can't just demand it like this." She leaned in closer, voice dropping to a hiss. "Don't be ridiculous. This is for family. Your sister's big day, do you want to ruin it?" I shook my head, pushing my chair back. "It's not about ruining anything. It's about respect. I won't hand it over." That's when her face twisted. In one swift motion, she reached across and slapped me hard across the cheek, the sharp sting echoing in the room. "Get out of this house if you're that selfish." My sister didn't say a word, just smirked, her eyes gleaming with something cold. My dad looked away, silent as always. I touched my burning skin, grabbed my keys, and walked outdoors, slamming behind me. No goodbye, no turning back. 10 years later, my phone buzzed with 35 missed calls from Mom. Her voicemail cracked. "Emily, we need help. Everyone's struggling. Can you—" I typed back calmly. "Yes, but not you guys." Before I get into how that dinner shattered everything and led to the revenge I'd never imagined, let me know where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you've ever faced a family demand that crossed every line. With that slap still burning, I drove to a discreet Portland lawyer specializing in identity changes. He staged a single-car crash on a rainy highway ruled unavoidable by a paid coroner. News hit fast: Emily Carter, 26, dead in a tragic wreck. No body found, just debris to sell the story. I slipped away to Miami as Emma Wilson, my face tweaked slightly, nose reshaped, hair dyed auburn to avoid recognition. Megan, my cousin, was my only confidant. She'd seen Mom favor Brittany's scholarships over my straight A's growing up. "This is wild, Emily," she said on an encrypted call from Seattle, "but you deserve a fresh start." She relayed family updates and funneled funds, keeping my secret. Through her, I heard the funeral was rushed, Mom's tears, fake dad mumbling, Brittany and Ryan eyeing my empty savings account. In Miami, I rented a plain condo near the beach and revived EduLink under my alias, registering it in Florida to cut Carter ties. I emailed Dr. Kevin Thompson, my Oregon State mentor, anonymously. He saw the platform's potential and consulted remotely. "Emma, this could shake up EdTech," he wrote, urging a sharper interface for small businesses and compliance certifications. I coded nights, mastering algorithms for secure data. Cash trickled in from freelance web gigs on dark web forums, enough to hire an ex-FBI private investigator. "Hit the easy targets first," I told him via burner phones. Ryan was first, siphoning law firm funds to offshore accounts, dodging audits with fake invoices. Tapped calls caught him bragging, "Brittany's pay funds, the show mine stays hidden." The PI snapped ledgers at shady meetings, proof piling up. Brittany followed. Her education exec rise leaned on a plagiarized master's thesis, chunks lifted from journals. Hacked emails showed her pleading to a subordinate, "Fix citations if the board knows I'm done." Mom's connections had secured her program entry, but Brittany took shortcuts to stand out. Mom and Dad were tougher. The PI dug into school district records, finding skimmed student funds, fake receipts for supplies, thousands pocketed. Their emails planned it. "Brittany's wedding needs help, our secret." Dossiers grew, transfers forged, docs, colleague suspicions, all in my encrypted drive. I stayed cold, journaling to keep focus. Revenge is a dish best served systematically. I wrote, watching Atlantic waves. Megan updated, "They're selling your stuff, pretending you're gone. Brittany's promotion bash ignored you." EduLink's beta launched with Miami startups, tweaks from Kevin fixing early bugs. Users hit 50 subscriptions starting. I hired a coder in India and a marketer in Texas, keeping them unaware of my past. Year 2 intensified. The PI uncovered Ryan and Brittany plotting to hide her bonuses offshore. "We earned this," Ryan emailed. A suppressed whistleblower email exposed Brittany's plagiarism. Mom and Dad's audits confirmed a decade of diversions, $15,000 for Brittany's milestones. "Our girl comes first," Mom noted. EduLink grew fast. Kevin's push landed $2 million in seed funding. AI courses and HR integrations boosted users to 300 valuation at $20 million. I ran it from a South Beach office staying low-key. Megan visited warning, "You're unstoppable, Emma, but don't lose yourself." The fire held steady. After 2 years, my files were solid: recordings, photos, trails. Ryan faced years in jail. Brittany's career hung on her degree. Mom and Dad risked charges. One humid night, I eyed the drive. The plan was set time to return, not as their daughter, but as their reckoning. With the plan set, I returned at 28 as Emma Wilson, Megan's old friend from college. "She's an edtech expert, could boost your career," Megan pitched to Brittany over coffee. A lunch invite followed fast set at a downtown Seattle cafe with harbor views. No one recognized me. The subtle changes, sharper jawline, auburn waves, green contacts worked perfectly. Mom squinted briefly during introductions. "You remind me of our Emily gone too soon." I smiled lightly. "Just a Northwest thing, faces blend." Dad barely looked up from his plate while Ryan shook my hand. "Heard you advise on investments, my firm needs ideas," Brittany added quickly. "And my thesis revisions." The board's relentless. I slipped into the role effortlessly. First stop was Ryan's office in a Bellevue high-rise, reviewing his portfolio over coffee. "Your setup looks tight, but it could draw eyes," I said casually. "I know people who can layer protection." He leaned in. "Tell me more." I offered a plan with Trapp's shell accounts rigged to flag scrutiny, framing it as safe. "Minimizes exposure," I assured. He sent fees to my hidden account. "Brittany's spending pushes me, this helps." Brittany's sessions were at her Capitol Hill condo, papers strewn across her desk. "Policy sections are tough," she vented. I spotted fudged sections in her drafts. "Let's rephrase for clarity. My tool checks overlaps." As we edited, she shared how Mom secured her program entry. My recorder caught it all. "You'll stand out," I said. "Emily never had this focus." She nodded. "You get it, she didn't." Tension crept in. Brittany paused once. "Your voice sounds like my sister's." My heart raced, but I deflected. Regional accent sticks around. She let it go. Mom dropped by with coffee another day. "Emma, you've got Emily's quiet strength, strange." I shifted focus. "Brittany's carrying your legacy well." Dad, on a video call from school, praised my budget tips. Each moment pushed the disguise's limits. Irony stung at their dinners. "You're the sister we needed," Mom said, passing bread. Ryan toasted. "Emma fits better than the old chaos." Brittany squeezed my arm. "You understand us unlike her." They shared openly Ryan's firm pressures, Brittany's board worries, Mom's budget tweaks. My phone recorded softly. "Emma listens," Dad said, "not like before." Trust built quickly. Ryan shared sensitive files. "Rely on you." Brittany admitted advisor suspicions. "If this leaks, I'm done." Mom and Dad asked about district budgets, revealing their moves. Megan warned Brittany's digging into your past. I fed vague stories, East Coast startup grind. By month's end, traps were locked. Ryan's deals routed through my shells, ready for flags. Brittany's edits tied to fakes. Mom and Dad's budget talks exposed their cuts. At a barbecue, Ryan grinned. "Your family now, Emma." Brittany agreed. "Wish Emily was this easy." My recorder hummed the stage set. With their trust secured, I shifted to sowing discord as Emma, exploiting tensions with subtle nudges. Ryan opened the door during a follow-up at his Bellevue office, venting about home stress. "Colleagues hit rough patches when secrets pile up," I remarked casually while scanning his files. That night, I sent an anonymous email to Brittany's inbox, forged photos of Ryan with a woman from his firm, time-stamped late, captioned, "Late work nights." The fallout hit fast. Megan texted the next morning, their kitchen erupted, Brittany shouting, "Who's she, Ryan? Another client." He denied it sharply. "Just drinks, you're overreacting." The rift grew. Brittany's texts to me turned curt. Ryan canceled our next meeting with a vague, "busy" schedule. The PI's updates confirmed escalating fights. She checked his phone. He snapped at her doubts. I pivoted to Mom and Dad over tea at their home. "With kids grown, it's smart to check if support flows both ways," I said. Mom admitted Brittany's calls had dwindled. Ryan, always tied up. Dad nodded warily. I suggested a quick account review. They pulled records, spotting irregularities. "These don't add up," Dad muttered. Mom defended, "For Brittany's wedding." Doubt crept in. Dinner talks turning to ungrateful kids. Brittany called rattled. "Ryan's hiding something odd," messages. At a park meet, she showed the forged screenshots. "Men like him chase thrills under pressure," I said. Her old resentment flared. Mom's favoritism always made her guard the spotlight. "I won't let him drag me down." Ryan confided later at lunch. "Brittany's paranoid over nothing. Her family's always first." I nudged, "Protect your own interests." He shared more hidden deals, widening their split. They skipped family gatherings. He slept on the couch. Mom and Dad's strain surfaced next. Dad called Brittany, voice sharp. "We covered wedding extras from school funds." She fired back, "You pushed it, blame Ryan." Mom tried to mediate, but my words lingered. At a visit, Mom whispered, "Dad thinks they're taking advantage. Brittany's events, Ryan's tips cost us." I urged, "Talk it out. Boundaries help." Dad overheard, sparking a living room clash. Mom for "our girl." Dad blaming favoritism. Their fights went public. Megan saw Brittany and Ryan at a restaurant, voices raised. "You broke trust," she yelled. He shot back, "Your fakes ruin us." The PI caught audio. Brittany on Ryan's hidden funds, he on her stolen work. Mom's calls to Brittany failed. Dad refused to join. "They're draining us," he told me over coffee, my recorder catching his frustration. Brittany, isolated, leaned on me. "Ryan's leaving me broke." I suggested a PI. My contact fed more fakes. Their home confrontation shook, the block doors slamming. Mom and Dad argued over their own cuts. Dad demanded clarity. Mom insisted it was for family. The strategy clicked: divide and conquer their resentments. Brittany's spotlight, Ryan's greed, parents' guilt-fueling chaos. Megan updated, "Divorce talks real. They're lawyering up." I watched from afar, detached, their cracks splitting wide open. With their fractures at their deepest, I struck at 34 years after my staged death, hosting a memorial as Emma for a charity honoring lost ties. Invites read, "For Emily Carter and others gone, join for renewal." The Seattle waterfront ballroom, booked via a shell company, buzzed with Megan's confirmed RSVPs. "They're desperate for closure," she whispered during setup. Chandeliers glowed over white tables as guests, family, friends. Brittany's colleagues, Ryan's partners, mingled with wine. I watched via hidden cameras from a side room, dressed to blend. Mom and Dad arrived first, composed but strained. Brittany and Ryan entered last, tension thick, she in a stiff dress, he tugging his tie. They spotted Emma at the podium. "Beautifully done," Brittany said, hugging me. "Emily'd approve." Ryan nodded. "Classy." Tributes opened softly, a friend on my promise, another my resolve. I took the mic, voice steady. "We honor the absent and their lessons." Murmurs rose. I signaled. Lights dimmed, screen lit. Funeral clip played. Mom's whisper, "Relief she's gone, focus on Brittany." Gasps spread. Mom gripped her chair, Dad froze. Brittany stared. "What's this?" I met her eyes. The start. Ryan's audio next. Extra income's hidden, we deserve it. Diagrams flashed, shady financial flows. Silence fell. Ryan's colleagues stirred. He stood. Emma, stop. Phones glowed. Brittany's emails followed. Thick citations, Mom got me in. Highlighted fudges showed stolen work. She paled. How? Mom clutched Dad. Error. Parents' records closed. Diverted funds for Brittany's milestones. Dad's voice. Her path first. Chart showed $15,000 missing. Chaos erupted. Mom slumped, gasping. Impossible. Dad lunged at the screen. Who did this? Brittany yelled at Ryan. Your deals leaked. He shoved back. Your lies caused it. Guests scattered. Phone flashes lit exits. Security blocked doors. I dropped the wig-wiped makeup, revealing my face. The room stilled. Miss Me Never Gone saw it all. Mom choked. Emily? Brittany staggered. Can't be. Ryan blanched. What? Dad stared. They rushed. Megan held them back. Let her speak. I kept the mic. You grieved my absence but cheered at fighting over scraps. Mom's funeral words heard. Dad's silence at demands noted. Brittany Ryan calling me failure while lying. Mom sobbed. We thought you lost forgive, Brittany cried. Grief drove us, Ryan snarled. Blackmail lawsuit. I raised a hand. Justice, not blackmail. All recorded legally. Ryan authorities start tomorrow. Brittany, your standing ends soon. Mom-Dad district reviews begin. Drives with proof files, timestamps passed out. Guests whispered, alive all along. Brittany grabbed my sleeve. Why we cared. I broke free. Care demanding my money, striking me smirking. That's disposable. Mom wailed. Mistakes save us, Dad begged. Scandal hurts all. Ryan hissed. You're the villain. Security led them out as media pings hit leaks timed for networks. Villains come from neglect, I told the crowd. I'm done playing victim. Lawyers waited with papers. Flashes erupted. Calls echoed. I left with Megan truth out their world shattered. The chaos from the event spilled into dawn, but I was back in Miami with Megan tracking news on my phone. Seattle channels broke it first. Dead woman returns, exposes family secrets. By midday, national headlines blared on CNN, girl back from grave for revenge. Social media surged. Emily returns, viral ballroom clips hitting millions of views. Comments exploded, betrayal like no other. Legal fallout struck fast. Ryan's firm suspended him. Investigators raided his office, seizing files. Charges for financial misconduct loomed, threatening years behind bars. He surrendered at the federal building, cameras flashing. I didn't know, he claimed, but evidence locked it. Bail denied, deemed a risk. Brittany visited, her face drawn on leaked footage. Brittany's career collapsed. An urgent board review voided her credentials for inconsistencies. Standards breached, the dean declared. Her employer fired her instantly, citing misconduct. Job applications failed, background checks flagged the scandal. She hid in her condo, dodging angry calls from ex-colleagues, one plea to the board surfacing, mistake careers gone. Mom and Dad faced a probe. Audits exposed diverted school funds, thousands for Brittany's milestones. Their licenses were suspended, penalties demanded. They sold their home to cover costs, moving to a small Tacoma rental. Mom's TV interview shook, for our daughter's good. Dad stayed quiet, dodging cameras. Social fallout spread. Global coverage, Times feature fake death to family ruin. Podcasts called it a modern Monte Cristo. Brittany's profiles froze under scrutiny. Ryan's network cut him. Friends' faded invitations stopped. Mom's support group shunned her. Dad worked odd jobs at a supply store. In Miami, my penthouse gleamed over Biscayne Bay, open and sleek. Edulink's board met virtually. Valuation hit $500 million, post-story investors rushing in. Your ARC sells, a VC emailed. I went public as Emily Carter CEO in a Forbes interview. built from zero, not lies. New offices opened in major cities, users at 10,000. Justin, my husband, managed press smoothly after our quiet beach wedding with Megan as witness. Abigail, our 2-year-old, played carefree. A national broadcast framed it as a reckoning. I sat, composed, suited. They took my money, struck me, erased me, now they face truth. Clips showed party chaos, family fallout. Ratings soared. Book offers came. I focused on charity trauma survivor talks, stressing accountability over vengeance. Their lives unraveled. Ryan took a plea for a reduced term, barred from his field. Brittany's divorce left her with little. She took city driving jobs, earnings tight. Mom and Dad relied on limited benefits, food stamps, basic health coverage for Dad's stress issues. They sent voicemails via Megan. Sorry, help us. I blocked them, lawyers handling it. Penthouse life thrived. Justin's industry book launched dedicated to my rise. Abigail's joy-lit evenings. Megan's visits bonded us. EduLink's ethics module went free globally, downloads spiking. A tabloid split image showed me at a gala poised, them in a dim rental worn. Media named it Emily's Empire, billionaire by quarter's end. Interview funds aided hotlines, turning pain outward. Their pleas stopped. Silence signaled defeat. I moved on, boardrooms, family nights, open future. Their ruin settled, the final act unfolded in quiet desperation. 6 months post-party pleas trickled through lawyers, then direct, despite blocks. Mom's 35 voicemails in a week begged, Emily, we're crumbling, Brittany's alone, Ryan gone, help us. Her voice broke, a cheap fan humming. I listened once, deleted. Brittany texted from a new number. Sis, divorce destroyed me. Everything's lost. Talk. Ryan's jail letters promised change for one call. Dad's brief, regret all, family. Megan screened most, but I agreed to one last meeting, a Miami park bench under palms. They scraped funds from a failed crowdfunding attempt. Mom looked frail, Dad slumped. Brittany gaunt, Ryan absent, bail denied. Emily. Mom rushed, arms open. We've suffered enough. Brittany nodded, eyes swollen. You turn the world against us. Dad lingered back. Hear us. I sat upright, hands folded. Speak. Mom pleaded. Charges ruin us, Ryan's trial nears, Brittany jobless. We sold everything. Drop them. Brittany cut in. You faked death, spied, wrecked us, spite, Dad soft. Wrong on money, favoritism. Blood holds. They begged Mom for mercy, Brittany for an EduLink job, Dad for a loan. Silence lingered. My speech came steady. I forgive, because grudges exhaust, they poison the bearer. Mom's strikes demands. Dad's silence. Brittany's smirks, lies. Ryan's greed, I've carried enough, now let go. Relief crossed them. Mom reached. Help family mends. Never forget, I said, pulling back. History stops repeat mistakes. You demanded my wedding funds, treated me expendable, reap what sowed. No drops, jobs, loans, walk on. Shock hit. Brittany stood. Cruel. Mom wept. All this, Dad begged. One chance. I rose. Chances ended at that dinner. They scattered, Mom crying, Brittany cursing, Dad trailing. I walked off, Megan texting, okay. Penthouse waited, Justin grilling, Abigail sketching. Mama. She hugged my legs. Megan arrived, wine ready. They left broken. Justin kissed my forehead. Strong move. Closure sank deep. Pain turned to power. EduLink Global Europe and Asia valued at $1 billion. I mentored founders, teaching boundaries build empires. Justin's book on reinvention launched. Abigail asked about other family. Some ties end for better ones, I said. Megan, her aunt, joined beach weekends. Their end faded distant. Ryan's plea gave 5 years, barred forever. Brittany's divorce left little. She drove rideshare, tips, slim friends gone. Mom and Dad's probation ended, licenses gone. They moved to a Florida senior unit living on pensions food stamps. Mom helped at a library, Dad fixed appliances. Megan heard, "They regret, but don't reach out." Please stopped pride or shame. I thrived free. EduLink's ethics module went global, downloads spiked. Galas called me Tech Phoenix, but I valued Abigail's plays, Justin's wins, Megan's visits. Best revenge was living well, empire built love, chosen past a shadow. They faded. I stepped into light.
We thought your brother needed some fresh air. He's going with us instead of you. I'm sure you don't mind, my mom said with that dismissive chuckle I knew too well, as my brother John dragged his suitcase across the San Francisco airport terminal, arriving from Denver. I stood frozen, the welcome sign I'd made dropping slightly in my hands. This luxury cruise, the one I'd spent months planning and saving for, was supposed to be my chance to finally bond with my parents. Instead, here I was, watching my unemployed brother steal my place without so much as a thank you. My name is Maryanne Thompson, and at 35, I've built a successful life for myself in San Francisco, far from my family's constant disappointments. I'd saved for nearly a year to afford this 5-day cruise, working extra projects and giving up vacations of my own. The presidential suite, the premium dining package, the exclusive shore excursions. I'd carefully chosen every detail to make it perfect. Perfect for the three of us, me, my mom, and my dad. Not for my 37-year-old brother who still lives in their basement playing video games all day while they pay his bills. When I let them fill out the online forms for the trip I had paid, I never expected them to put my brother's name instead of mine. John gets seasick if he sits in the back, my mom announced, already ushering him toward the passenger seat of my rental car. My dad stood quietly behind them, avoiding my eyes like he always did when they pulled stunts like this. I watched as John sprawled out in what should have been my seat, immediately pulling out his phone to check his gaming notifications. The cruise documents in my bag suddenly felt heavy, all those carefully planned dinner reservations and excursions I'd booked, now useless. The cruise line needs advance notice for passenger changes, I said quietly, knowing it wouldn't matter. My mom waved her hand dismissively. Oh, we already took care of that weeks ago. We just transferred your spot to John's name. The resort confirmed everything yesterday. The casual way she said it, like replacing me was the most natural thing in the world, made my stomach twist. I gripped my car keys tighter, feeling the metal bite into my palm as I forced myself to smile. Some part of me knew, standing there in that crowded airport terminal, that this moment would change everything. The happy families rushing past us, the excited chatter of vacation goers, it all felt like a cruel mockery of what this trip was supposed to be. As I loaded their luggage into the trunk, I could hear my mom already telling John about the spa treatments I'd booked for what was supposed to be our mother-daughter day at sea. The drive to the port felt like watching a movie of my life on repeat. Every mile marker brought back another memory of being pushed aside for John. Growing up in Denver, our roles were clearly defined. John was the one who needed support, while I was the one who could handle things on my own. When I got a full scholarship to college in San Francisco, my parents barely acknowledged it because they were too busy consoling John about his latest failed job interview. When I landed my first executive position, my mom's only response was to ask if I could send more money to help with John's gaming equipment. I'd tried everything to win their approval. Every achievement, every milestone was another attempt to prove I was worth their attention. My apartment in San Francisco's Pacific Heights, the one I'd worked 60-hour weeks to afford, sat empty more weekends than not because I was always flying back to Denver, trying to be there for family dinners that inevitably turned into celebrations of John's latest non-accomplishment. Your brother's thinking about maybe taking some online classes, my mom would gush, while my recent promotion went unmentioned. My dad would just sit there, nodding along, occasionally throwing me apologetic glances that meant nothing without action behind them. This cruise was supposed to be different. I'd spent months planning every detail, imagining how proud they'd be when they saw the luxury suite I'd booked, how impressed they'd be with the exclusive restaurants I'd reserved. I kept picturing my mom's face when she saw the private balcony with its own hot tub, my dad's reaction to the premium wine package I'd arranged. For once, I thought, They'd see me, really see me, and understand how much I'd accomplished, how far I'd come. Instead, here I was, listening to John complain about the car's air conditioning while my mom reminded me to drive carefully because your brother gets car sick. The leather steering wheel felt slick under my sweaty palms as we approached the cruise ship area. Through the rearview mirror, I could see my mom showing John photos of the suite on her phone, the suite I'd spent countless extra hours at work to afford. "Look at this infinity pool," she exclaimed. "It's exactly what you need to relax, sweetie." I tightened my grip on the wheel, wondering if they'd even notice the tears I was blinking back. The worst part wasn't even losing my place on the cruise. It was realizing that they'd probably planned this switch weeks ago, never once considering how it would make me feel. The cruise terminal loomed ahead, its massive white structure gleaming in the California sun. My mom was practically bouncing with excitement as I unloaded their luggage, while John hadn't even bothered to help, too busy texting his gaming friends about his upcoming vacation. I watched as one of the porters wheeled away their bags, my carefully packed overnight bag still sitting untouched in the trunk. The bag I'd filled with new sundresses and sandals, planning for dinners I'd never attend, memories I'd never make. "You'll take lots of pictures, right?" I heard myself asking, my voice sounding hollow even to my own ears. My mom was already digging through her purse for their boarding passes, the ones I'd originally booked in my name. "Oh, of course, we'll show you everything when we get back," she replied, not even looking up. My dad at least had the decency to look uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot as he stood there. "Thanks for the ride, honey," he mumbled, before my mom called him over to handle the check-in process. I stood rooted to the spot, watching as they made their way through security. John turned back once, not to thank me, but to ask if I'd remembered to pack his motion sickness pills in his carry-on. The same pills I'd packed for myself, now transferred to his bag without my knowledge. Through the terminal windows, I could see the massive cruise ship, its pristine white hull stretching toward the sky. The ship I'd spent months researching, reading every review, studying deck plans late into the night to pick the perfect suite location. As they disappeared into the terminal, I felt something inside me shift. Years of swallowed hurt, of pushed-down anger, of trying to be the good daughter who never complained. It all crystallized into a single clear thought. I was done. Done trying to prove my worth to people who would never see it. Done competing with a brother who didn't even have to try. Done being the afterthought in my own family. Getting back into my rental car, I made a decision that would change everything. If my family wanted to act like I didn't exist, I would finally give them what they wanted. Complete silence. No calls, no texts, no emails. Let them have their cruise. It would be the last thing they ever got from me. As I pulled away from the terminal, I could see them in my rearview mirror, already laughing and chatting as they headed toward their vacation. My vacation. But for the first time in my life, their happiness didn't make me feel small. Instead, it made me feel powerful. Because I knew something they didn't. This was the last time they would ever take me for granted. The first call from my mom came just hours after they set sail. "The suite is gorgeous, honey. John just loves the private balcony. You should see how relaxed he looks already." Her voicemail was full of details about how much my brother was enjoying the amenities I'd paid for. I deleted it without responding. The second call came during their first dinner at the upscale steakhouse I'd reserved months in advance. "The Wagyu beef is amazing. Your brother says it's the best meal he's ever had." Delete. By day 3 of their cruise, my mom's messages had taken on a slightly confused tone. "Maryanne, why aren't you answering? We sent you some photos of the spa day. The massage therapist said it was just what John needed for his gaming-related back pain." My dad left one awkward voicemail, mostly filled with uncomfortable pauses, and a half-hearted, "Hope you're doing well." John predictably didn't bother to call at all. I imagined him sprawled on the balcony lounger I'd picked out, probably complaining about the ocean being too loud while he played games on his phone. I threw myself into work that week, staying late at the office, taking on extra projects, anything to keep my mind off what was happening on that ship. But every ping of my phone, every new voicemail notification, sent a fresh wave of anger through me. The photos they kept sending were the worst. My brother posing in front of the infinity pool I'd dreamed of swimming in. My parents beaming at the candlelit dinner I'd planned as a special moment with them. Each image was like a knife twisting in my gut, but it also strengthened my resolve. "Sweetie, we're back home now," my mom's latest voicemail chirped. "John had such a wonderful time. It was exactly what he needed. We have so many stories to tell you. Call us back." I stared at my phone, remembering all the times I'd rushed to return their calls, desperate for their approval. Not this time. This time, their calls would go unanswered, their messages unread. As I blocked their numbers one by one, I felt a strange mix of grief and liberation. The daughter they took for granted, the one who always answered, always showed up, always tried to please them, she was gone. In her place was someone new, someone who finally understood her own worth. 2 weeks after their return, the desperate attempts to reach me intensified. My parents began calling my office, prompting my assistant to politely inform them that I was unavailable. They tried emailing, texting from different numbers, even reaching out through my cousins on social media. Each attempt met the same wall of silence. My mom's messages grew increasingly frantic. "Maryanne, this isn't like you. We're worried. What's wrong? Why are you being so difficult about this?" I focused on rebuilding my routine without them in it. No more rushed weekend flights to Denver, no more long phone calls listening to John's latest gaming achievements, no more forcing myself to smile through family dinners where I felt invisible. I redecorated my apartment, replacing family photos with art I loved. I joined a hiking group, started taking cooking classes, filled my newly free weekends with things that made me happy. The constant weight of trying to earn their love began to lift, leaving me feeling lighter than I had in years. "Your brother is very upset," my mom's latest email read. "He says you're being selfish, that you've ruined the nice family vacation we had." I laughed out loud at that one, a sharp, bitter sound that echoed through my empty kitchen. The sheer audacity of it was almost impressive. They'd stolen my vacation, replaced me without a second thought, and somehow I was the selfish one? Something about that email solidified everything for me. It was classic them, twisting the situation to make John the victim, making me the bad guy for finally standing up for myself. My dad tried a different approach, leaving a voicemail that actually acknowledged something was wrong. "Honey, if this is about the cruise, well, maybe we should have handled it differently." The subtle understatement was so typical of him, always seeing the problem, but never quite brave enough to really address it. Too little, too late. I added his new number to my blocked list, feeling a small pang but pushing through it. Each time I refused to engage, each call I didn't return, each message I deleted, it felt like reclaiming a piece of myself I'd given away years ago. 3 months into my silence, my mom's facade finally cracked. Her latest voicemail was different, raw, emotional, without the usual excuses for John. "Maryanne," her voice cracked, "I understand now. The cruise. We took it from you. You worked so hard to give us something special and we didn't even think about how it would hurt you. We've always taken you for granted because you were the strong one, the successful one. We thought you didn't need us like John does. I see now how wrong we were." My dad followed with his own message, his voice heavy with regret. "Sweet pea, I've been a coward. All these years I've watched your mother and brother dismiss your achievements, and I never stood up for you. I just let it happen because it was easier than rocking the boat. You deserved better from me. You deserved better from all of us." For the first time, I heard real pain in his voice, not just discomfort. The most telling response came from John, complete silence. No apologies, no acknowledgement of what he'd done. In his mind, he probably still saw himself as the victim, but his silence spoke volumes, highlighting exactly why I'd needed to step away. While my parents were finally facing their mistakes, he remained unchanged, entitled, expecting the world to revolve around him. I sat in my home office, looking out over the San Francisco skyline as I listened to their messages. The sun was setting, painting the bay in shades of gold and pink, and I felt a profound sense of peace wash over me. Their belated recognition of their behavior didn't fix the years of hurt, didn't erase the pain of being replaced on that cruise, but it validated my decision to stand up for myself. Their desperation to reach me proved what I'd suspected all along. They'd only valued me when they couldn't take me for granted anymore. Later that evening, as I deleted their latest messages, I caught my reflection in the window. Shoulders back, head high, a quiet confidence in my expression that hadn't been there before. The daughter who would have done anything for their approval was gone. In her place stood a woman who finally understood that their approval had never been worth the price they demanded. 6 months into my silence, my life had transformed in ways I never expected. Without the constant drain of trying to please my family, I found energy I didn't know I had. I redecorated my apartment, replacing the beige walls my mom had insisted on with bold colors I loved. The formal living room furniture that had sat unused, bought because my mom said it made me look established, was donated and replaced with comfortable pieces that actually fit my style. Each change felt like reclaiming another piece of myself. My weekends, once devoted to exhausting flights to Denver and endless family obligations, became mine again. I joined a women's hiking group, started taking photography classes, and even began learning to sail on the bay, something I'd always wanted to try but never had time for. The money I'd once spent on plane tickets and gifts for John now went into my own adventures. I started a travel fund, planning trips for myself instead of expensive presents for others who didn't appreciate them. Work changed too. Without the constant interruptions from my mom's dramatic calls about John's latest crisis, I found myself more focused, more creative. I got another promotion, this time allowing myself to really celebrate it instead of downplaying it to avoid making my brother feel bad. My colleagues noticed the change in me, commented on my newfound confidence, the way I spoke up more in meetings, how I seemed more present and engaged. The hardest part wasn't the silence itself. It was handling the waves of guilt that sometimes crashed over me late at night. Years of conditioning had taught me that I was responsible for my family's happiness, that setting boundaries made me selfish. But as the months passed, those waves of guilt grew weaker. I started seeing a therapist who helped me understand that my family's behavior wasn't just thoughtless. It was emotional abuse. She helped me see that my silence wasn't punishment. It was protection. Their messages continued, evolving from angry demands to desperate pleas. My mom's latest email was particularly revealing. "We never realized how much we depended on you until you were gone. John's struggling without your help, and we don't know what to do." It was telling that even in her apology, she was still focusing on John's needs. But for the first time, I felt no urge to rush in and fix things. Their struggles weren't my responsibility anymore. One evening, as I sat on my balcony watching the sunset over the bay, I found my dad's last voicemail still saved on my phone. "I miss you, sweet pea." His voice wavered. "I miss the daughter I never took the time to really know." I let myself cry then, not from guilt or pain, but from recognition of my own growth. The daughter he missed no longer existed. In her place was someone stronger, someone who understood that love shouldn't require erasing yourself. Exactly 1 year after the cruise incident, my parents showed up unannounced at my office in San Francisco. My assistant, who had become fiercely protective of my boundaries, called to warn me. "Your parents are in the lobby," she said. "Should I have security escort them out?" I sat at my desk, staring at the family photo I'd finally removed from my wall last month, and made a decision I'd been preparing for all year. "Send them up," I said, my voice steady. When they walked into my office, they looked smaller somehow. My mom's usual confident demeanor was gone, replaced by something almost timid. My dad's shoulders were hunched, his eyes unable to meet mine at first. The silence stretched between us until my mom finally spoke, her voice breaking. "We sold the house," she said. "We told John he has to move out and support himself. We're trying to fix things. Not just with you, but with everything." I gestured for them to sit, noting how they perched uncertainly on the edge of their chairs, so different from their usual entitled comfort. My dad pulled out a thick envelope. "These are from the cruise," he said, placing it on my desk. "Every receipt, every charge. We've calculated exactly what you spent, including the deposits and excursions. We want to pay you back." I looked at the envelope but didn't touch it. "It was never about the money," I said quietly. "It was about respect, about being seen, about having my feelings considered just once before John's." My mom started crying then. Real tears, not the manipulative ones I'd seen her use so often. "We know," she whispered. "We know that now. But we didn't just come to repay the cruise. We came to tell you that we're in therapy. Both of us. Learning why we did what we did. Why we put so much on you and expected so little from John." I listened as they talked about their realizations, about the damage they'd done, about their hopes to rebuild, not the relationship we had before, but something new, something healthier. They didn't ask for immediate forgiveness or demand I resume contact. Instead, they gave me something I'd never received from them before: respect for my boundaries. As they stood to leave, my dad handed me a letter. "Take your time," he said. "Read it when you're ready. We'll wait until you decide if and when you want us in your life again." They walked out of my office without trying to hug me or make me promise anything. I sat there long after they'd gone, holding the unopened letter, feeling the weight of all it represented. For the first time in our relationship, they were putting my needs first. It wasn't earth-shattering or dramatic, just a quiet acknowledgement of my worth, my right to set boundaries, my power to choose the relationship I wanted. It's been 2 years since that day in my office. I did eventually read their letter, a 12-page confession of every time they'd pushed me aside for John, every moment they'd taken me for granted, every opportunity they'd missed to be real parents to me. It wasn't just an apology. It was an acknowledgement of who I'd become despite their treatment. They wrote about watching me from afar this past year, seeing my success, my strength, my refusal to shrink myself anymore. John never did apologize. Last I heard, he was finally working at a local gaming store, forced to support himself for the first time at 39. My parents maintain careful boundaries with him now, no longer rushing to solve his every problem. They're learning, slowly but surely, that enabling him was never love. It was fear. Fear of letting him fail. Fear of letting him grow up. Fear of losing their role as his perpetual saviors. As for me, I'm different now. The woman who stood in that airport terminal, silently accepting her replacement, feels like a stranger. I've learned that true strength isn't about enduring mistreatment. It's about having the courage to say, enough. My worth isn't measured by my family's approval anymore, and that's the most valuable lesson this whole experience taught me. I've started rebuilding a relationship with my parents on my own terms. We meet once every few months, just quiet conversations where they listen more than they talk. My mom no longer launches into stories about John the moment we sit down. My dad has found his voice, sharing his own thoughts instead of just nodding along with whatever my mom says. It's not perfect, but it's real, and that's all I ever wanted. Last week, my dad called just to tell me he was proud of the woman I've become, not because of my success or achievements, but because I finally stood up for myself. "You taught us how to be better parents," he said, by showing us what we stood to lose. My mom added that watching me build my life this past year helped her understand what she'd been doing wrong all along. "We kept trying to make you smaller," she admitted, "when we should have been helping you shine. Sometimes I think back to that cruise they took without me. What felt like the ultimate betrayal became the catalyst for my transformation. By replacing me on that ship, they actually set me free. Free to become someone who would never again accept being an afterthought in her own life."